For sure. And one specific game in particular for me that has always stood with me till this day is the game against the Galaxy at Stamford. You know, we were
Oh
losing,
yeah.
and then eventually you come back with Gordon's header.
Yep.
From your input, you know, you being in the game, could you talk to us about everything that happened?
Yeah, I remember that because they still show the highlights of it. And I
Yeah,
still get goosebumps every time
yeah,
I
yeah.
watch it. So I think we were losing 1-0, and then I think we got a red card if I
Mm-hmm.
remember correctly, or
Yeah.
second yellow, or whatever happened. And I think we tied it up, and then right after that, they came down and they had basically a two on me,
Mm-hmm.
Landon and somebody else that I don't remember who was. Played the ball square to Landon. Luckily, I got across. I made a foot save,
Yeah.
and then I think then we went back down and tied it up 1-1. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking at that time like, all right, 1-1, we're down a man,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, 70 minutes, some 65, somewhere in that ballpark. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, all right, we just got to hold on. Let's just get a tie out of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they were they were killing us. We were man down,
Yeah.
and then and then to turn around and get the header from Allen. At the end, I mean, it just the place went crazy,
Yeah.
and I mean, again, I mean, it's on highlights of me celebrating like an idiot by myself. Nobody ever runs back to the goalie, so I'm just by myself. I sure as hell ain't running all the way up there. It's too far to run, but
Yeah.
it was just that was the again that was the enthusiasm that we had and the love we had for each other,
Mm-hmm.
and again the attitude that we had. It didn't matter we were man down. It didn't matter that it was landed in the LA Galaxy. No,
Yeah.
nothing mattered.
Yeah.
We were gonna find a way that year, and we always did.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, we found a way to win games, whether they're pretty or ugly. It didn't matter, and that was just another example in a game that we probably shouldn't even have been in.
Yeah, for sure. And throughout your 5 years, with San Jose, is there a specific memory that you still, think about till this day, or that you keep with?
Um, Again, that one's right at the top of the list
Mm-hmm.
for sure. That one is again just because we shouldn't have won that one, and the crowd that was there and everything that fell into place, it was there. But um, winning the supporter shield when we won that was special for us, But again, every game was always special because I never took it for granted. I never thought like this was gonna last forever. I was just always appreciative of it.
Yeah.
I more of the times I look back and I look back of the injuries that I got, and even my wife says to me, "He's like, how the hell did you play through that?" And it's just like, one year I had that when Muma elbowed me and
Yeah. Yeah.
my eye closed by halftime.
Yeah.
My retina was torn and all that. And then, just everything, the time I had to wear the face shield and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think back now and I just laugh and I'm like, God, what an idiot I was. But, it was more about I didn't want to leave the field because
Yeah.
I was having so much fun with those guys.
For sure.
And we had such a great group that, I didn't want to not be on there
Yeah.
with them, whether I had broken fingers or a broken face or whatever, it didn't matter. I wanted to be out there with those guys.
For sure. And obviously, you hold the record for 138 saves in a season, beating Joe Cannon. Not a lot of people could do that. That's probably insanely hard to achieve, but you did it, John. So talk to us. How did that feel? Beating another legend as well, who is Joe Cannon.
Yeah, I mean, look, Joe's Joe, right? And
Yeah.
everybody knows what Joe's done there, and just an unbelievable goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't really go into a season thinking I'm going to try to break the save record because
Yeah.
that means you didn't have a good year, as a team. So I knew towards the end, it was a tough year that year, but I knew towards the end, PR people were telling me you're getting close to it. And again, it's not really one of those things you're like, oh yeah, I really want that award.
Yeah.
But the more I thought about it after the season, I said, what that did show, especially in a very tough year, was my consistency from game one to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to make as many saves as I could to give our team an opportunity to get a point or to get three or to always get something out of the game. And that's something I've always been taught is about the consistency of a real pro from game one to game 30 or 50 or how many ever you play each year. So for me, I was proud in the fact of it showed my consistency.
Yeah.
Even though, like I said, it's not necessarily one of the awards or one of the accolades you really are proud of because you had a long season and the team had a long season.
Yeah.
If you did that. So
For sure. And my next question would be, John, if the Quakes were to give you the position to become the goalkeeper coach now, would you take it?
In a heartbeat.
For sure.
In a heartbeat. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I actually looked into it a little bit when they made the change.
Yeah.
But once the coach came in and he brought his own staff, it was out of it. But yeah, if they were to call, I would be 100% interested in being their goalkeeper coach for sure.
For sure, and I would bet a lot of fans would love for you to go back as well.
Yeah.
But now talking about the Quakes, obviously in recent years since 2012, every season is just a letdown. But from your input, what do you think the Quakes need to get back to the next level? It doesn't even have to be to win the Supporter Shield, but it's at least to make a run to do something in the playoffs.
Yeah, they've had a tough road, and I think that it'll be interesting to see how the new coach does and bringing in new philosophies and new ideas and all that. Part of the process is, and you see it with every team when they make a coaching change or whatever after an unsuccessful year is, with all the rules and regulations of MLS, and rosters, sometimes it takes a while for them to get all the players they want in and move all the players they don't want out. So, the fans are going to have to be a little bit patient to see what happens. And I know that's going to be hard for them, right? Because it's been so many years. I think they have a fantastic coach. I think they're bringing in some very good players. They've got some very good young players there. So I think the combination is good. It's not getting any easier in the MLS because every team's spending more and more money. So they've got to spend more money to keep up. Again, they're probably never going to be at the top, but they do need to spend more to keep up. But yeah, I think if they can get into the playoffs, I think that's got to be step one. Let's get back to the playoffs and then see where it goes from there. I think that's a successful year if they make the playoffs.
I completely agree. And now, obviously, talking about Matias Almeyda, the Argentinian, do you think he's the probably the chosen one, to probably, to terminate the dry spell for the Quakes?
Well, he's the chosen one right now, right? So that's all you can say. Hey, look, the guy's a fantastic coach. He's been there. He's done it, both as a player and a coach. Time will tell. Time will tell. Again, this is a different league. There's different parameters around it. There's different situations with salary caps and travel that he's probably not used to, and all this stuff comes into effect in the MLS. That when you come from outside, regardless if you come from Europe or South America, it's just a different league, and so it always takes time for whether the coaches or players to understand the MLS. Look, I hope he gets it right. I hope he gets it right for the club. I hope he gets it right for the fans because it is a great club and the fans deserve it. They've sacrificed enough. They got you guys got some unbelievable fans out there. So they need to be rewarded.
I most definitely agree with you on that one. You spent obviously 5 years with the Quakes. You leave them. You sign back with Chicago Fire, and then eventually, you signed with Indy 11 for 2 years. Talk to us, about playing in the NASL.
Yeah, it was a good decision on my part. When I started talking to Indy 11, I was getting obviously up there in age. I was starting to think about the transitional period. I still wanted to play a little bit longer, so they gave me the opportunity to be not just a starting goalkeeper, but also the goalkeeper coach. So I had a dual role when I came here. As I got involved, the more I got involved after the first year, we came up with a plan that that they would start teaching me the office side of it. The plan was for me to become the technical director when I'm done playing. So I started sitting in budget meetings. I started sitting in more staff meetings. I started learning as much as I could for that day to come. So it was a very good educational step for me in that process. And it was great to play in the NASL. It was a quality league with quality players and a lot of guys who played in the MLS. So the games were great. I mean, our battle was always with the Cosmos, and it was always fun. I mean, we talked about the MLS battles, but in the NASL, it was Indy, and for 2 years, it was Indy and the Cosmos. Wow. And it was fun. So it was, and they have great fans here. The fans are fantastic. So it was always a good environment.
For sure. And obviously, you're retired now. Do you have any plans in becoming possibly a coach?
A head coach?
Yeah, head coach.
No.
Not at all.
No, because this is the way I look at it. Right?
Yeah.
People say goalkeepers are dumb people, right? If you're a head coach, you got to deal with 28 different players. If I'm a goalie coach, I only got to deal with 3 guys, maybe 4 at the most. So, I think I'm the smart guy. I'll only deal with 3 instead of 4. But
sure.
no, I mean, I've thought about it for about half a second. But my joy and my love and my expertise is in being a goalkeeper and now being a goalkeeper coach. And so for me, I want to be the best goalkeeper coach I can be, regardless if it's at the MLS level, USL level, club level, college level. That's my focus is being the best I can be.
For sure. And obviously, throughout your 500 games, your 21 years of being a professional, is there possibly a striker that you can name that probably was the hardest to possibly, save? Obafemi Martins, Robbie Keane, even Wando. Or could you name?
Yeah, I mean, you named 3 right there, and they're all 3 different kind of players, and so, I mean, Wando is the best pure poacher, around the box that I've seen. He gets goals in a bunch of different ways, but he's always in the right place at the right time. Yeah. Keno was always so smart. He always got off the back shoulder of the defenders, and they always lost them.
Yeah.
Obi was just a wrecking ball up in Seattle. I mean, just it was so hard to contain, and then I look back to Brian McBride. Brian McBride when I would train against them, or whether it was Chicago or even Columbus, the early days, like pure finisher, the best. He never missed a target. Wow. Left, right, up, down, didn't matter. Everything was clinical. Then I look at Peter Novak in the early days. Peter Novak was one of the people, when he had the ball at his feet and he was running at me, he scared me to death because he was so fast with the ball.
Wow.
I didn't know what to do if he was on a breakaway. I didn't know if I should come out, stay back, go down, stand up. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Then you have people like Echeverry, and his ability on free kicks and things like that. Obviously, David Beckham's ability on free kicks. Landon Donovan. I mean, I can't sit here and just name one guy. It would be unfair to all the rest of them. But I mean, I've seen some unbelievable players, and luckily I saved a few of their shots, I think.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. Would you possibly put Carlos El Pescadito Ruiz on that list? Or did you ever play against him?
I did play against him. I didn't like all the flopping he did. He flopped way too many times. But again, another very good player. But yeah, he annoyed me when he would always dive. But other than that, he was a good player. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, we just talked about the strikers. Could you possibly name somebody that had the probably hardest shot that possibly could break your hand, or no? Kari Stevenson?
Nah, Kari hit it with a pillow. No way. Kari had a pretty hard shot. I would say off the top of my head, the 2 that come to mind, Ross Pauly in Columbus.
Chad Barrett?
Even though he was a skinny little guy, he could smash the ball. And then in Chicago, Chad Barrett.
Yeah.
But the thing with Chad was Ross would at least do it from about 20, 25 out. Chad would do it from the 6-yard line because he just wanted to try to kill the goalie. And so we didn't really like that, because it'd be a Tuesday at practice and he'd be shooting from 6 yards out trying to kill us. So, but those 2 come to mind right away.
Yeah, okay. And now moving on, what advice, would you give to yourself as a little kid in Queens that you probably would have wanted back then now, that you've experienced life?
For me, well, I'll answer it 2 different ways. 2 things that I was very fortunate I was told was be open-minded to different coaches and different styles, and be willing to try things, absorb things, listen, see if it fits into your game.
Yeah.
And the other thing was never let anybody outwork you. And I think that was always my mantra was I would be the first in the locker room, the last one to leave. I did my gym work. I did everything I needed to do. I never let anybody outwork me from the time I started till the time I was done at 40, 1 or 2 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I listened to those things. One of the things that I would say to myself and reflecting back now that everything's done, I think I would tell myself to enjoy the ride a little bit more.
Yeah.
I was so focused on never wanting to let anybody down and never wanting to make a mistake or give another goalkeeper an opportunity to put me on the bench. That I was, as soon as we did something, it was okay. That's great. Let me move on to the next thing. Yeah. You know, and that could be season to season. That could be game to game. That could be whatever. And now I look back, and part of that, it always gave me my edge. And it always, you know, Alan Gordon always used to tell me, you have a chip on your shoulder. And I always tell him, I always did. I always had a chip on my shoulder. Because I knew as a smaller goalkeeper, I didn't have the luxury to have an off game or to, relax. And I was afraid to relax at times. And I think that's what was what made me successful. But again, I look back now and there were times where I don't think I was in the moment, and I don't think I enjoyed things as much, you know, the positive things as maybe I should have, you know, winning trophies or winning that, you know, you enjoy it for a split second, then it's okay, what's next? Where that would probably be the advice I would give myself if I could turn back time and say, you know, enjoy the ride a little bit more.
For sure. And obviously, you know, from the teams on the players that you've played against and the teammates that you have had within, is there a player in particular that you can name as probably just like outstanding, that, you know, is just probably the best player that you've seen play with or against?
Again, I don't know if I can name just one. There were so many, you know. I go back to the early days, you know, Echeverry, Peter Novak's, Chrissy Armis's, you know, CJ Brown's, but they all had different roles. Yeah. Right? I mean, you look at Wondolowski, you know, and what he's still doing. Ramiro was an unbelievable outside back for us in the early days when I was in San Jose. And so to just name one guy, Robbie Keane, Landon Donovan, it would be unfair. You know, it'd be unfair to the rest of them. Like I said, for being as around as long as I was, I mean, I saw some unbelievable players, you know, Clint Dempsey's, you know, Obi. The list goes on and on, you know. Juan Pablo in New York when he was there, you know. I mean, I'm forgetting a bunch of them, but
Henri,
you know, Henri's another one. Yeah, I mean, again, everyone different style. Taylor Twellman, you know, Taylor Twellman was a wrecking ball. I mean, Taylor Twellman would put a boot in me on a Tuesday morning, you know, because that's just the player he was, and he was competitive. But it was just. There's so many of them, and I was just so blessed to be able to either play with them or against them.
For sure. And now transitioning to the U.S. squad, do you think Berhalter is the one? Well, not probably the one, but do you think the U.S. is in good hands with Berhalter?
I think they're in very good hands with Greg. You know, from the brief time I spent with him years ago with the national team to even just the conversations I had with him last year in Columbus. You know, he always has a plan. He always has, you know, a method to do things, you know, and you look at what he did in Columbus and, you know, everybody knew their role. Everybody bought into it. They were very successful on the field. The whole organization was pulling in the right direction. Yeah. I think with time, you're going to see the same thing with the federation. And I think Greg is definitely the guy to get us going back in the right direction.
For sure. And now to finalize the interview, Jon, how does it feel to be recognized as one of the best goalkeepers in MLS history?
Well, I mean, in my eyes, I don't know if I was one of the best. You know, I know the stats are there and whatnot. Yeah. For me, I will say this, you know, and again, being with a lot of these guys and training against them and training with them and playing against them, and you know, there were some unbelievable, talented goalkeepers, far more talented than I was. You know, my key was just working as hard as I could and never taking it for granted. And I think that's what made me successful. You know, I mean, Kevin Hartman, Joe Cannons, Pat Onsteds, Scotty Garlicks, these guys that I looked up to for many years, they were all more talented than I was. I just probably wanted it, you know, I wouldn't say I wanted it more than them. I was willing to outwork anybody who got in my way is basically the best way to put it.
For sure. Well, I just want to tell you, you know, that you deserve the credit and that you are one of the best goalkeepers from my standpoint and possibly from other Earthquakes fans as well. But, you know, to thank you so much, you know, for accepting our invitation today. This has probably, you know, been one of the best interviews I've had so far. But thank you so much, Jon, and I wish you the best of luck in your life now.
I appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate the walk down memory lane. That was a lot of fun with you.
Thank you so much, Jon. Take care.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you. Everybody for looking at my video. If y'all liked it, please like and subscribe. I will be releasing more content soon. But like I said, if you guys could speak your word about me to your friends, colleagues, parents, cousins, that would be grateful. Thank you so much. See you next time.